ushering us into the throne room with God this morning. Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you. Has He done anything for you lately? Has He done any small thing? He did something. You're here this morning. Your eyes are open. You have free space in the building. None of us came in here incognito hiding our Christianity or our love for Christ. There are people around the world right now hiding in secret, praising our God. But we don't have to hide this morning. So don't you give Him a kitty cat praise. He woke you up this morning. He started you on your way. He slept with you last night. He blesses you day in and day out. You give Him the praise and mercy He deserves. He is the Christ and living King. He still walks with us today. You want Him to come see about you today? Make Him get off His throne and come see about His people. Because praise is that thing that He likes. Praise is that thing that He cannot deny. He will never deny the praise of His people. He causes Him to be uncomfortable. So He has to get up and come see about us. If you want to break through today, you give Him everything that you have. Every bit of praise, worship. Don't worry about the suit, the hair, your shoes, or who sits beside you. So they don't have another hell to put you in. So you let you give it all to God this morning. I am just the one that's sitting here. It's not about me. It's not about the praise and worship team. It's about the Christ that we serve. With that being said, good morning. I am Minister Akeya Carter-Bozman. As you see, I am not Apostle Kurt or Pastor Joshua Moore. They are on a much-needed vacation. And so this morning, they have entrusted me with their flock to lead you with the word that God has given me for you this morning. Before we start, let us go before the Lord in a word of prayer. God, I thank you this morning. God, I thank you for the word that you've given from your people this morning, God. God, I thank you that this word will not fall on deaf ears or be void to the people, God. God, I thank you for sending your son Jesus to Calvary so that we may have the freedom and liberty and be reconciled back to you, oh God. God, I ask the people today be hearers and doers of the word, God. Let it sink within them, God. Let it meditate within their minds, hearts, and souls, oh God. And God, I thank you for all that you're doing, all that you're going to do, and I thank you for the crazy, amazing time we're going to have in this house today. In your son's holy name, Jesus, I pray, amen. No, not yet. We have to read the scripture, sorry. So my message today is going to come out of Hebrews chapter 11, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 6. My Bible's on my phone. I'm so excited to deliver the word. I jumped up here without my Bible. I'm going to be reading from the Passion Translation just because it goes along with what I'll be teaching today. It says, "Now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. This testimony of faith is what previous generations were commended for. Faith empowers us to see that the universe was created and beautifully coordinated by the power of God's words. He spoke and the invisible realm gave birth to all that is seen. Faith moved Abel to choose a more acceptable sacrifice to offer to God than his brother Cain, and God declared him righteous because of his offering of faith. By faith, Abel still speaks instructions to us today, even though he is long dead. Faith translated Enoch from this life, and he was wakened up into heaven. He never had to experience death. He just disappeared from this world because God promoted him. For before he was translated to the heavenly realm, his life had become a pleasure to God. And without faith living within us, it would be impossible to please God. For we come to God in faith, knowing that He is real and that He rewards the faith of those who passionately seek Him." Yes. You all may be seated. So I won't be before you long this morning, but I want to speak from this point. What is your spiritual credit score? Wow. Yes. What is your spiritual credit score? Yes. So let's think about the natural. When is the last time you pulled your credit report and looked at what your score is? In the natural, your credit is a score. It's a number that represents the risk that lenders take when you borrow money or you borrow assets from them. The score consists of three numbers. based off your history, what you're known for, what your word is. Your history such as your payment history, how long you've had credit, the types of credit you have, the credit limits you have had, and what were those limits, and how many inquiries you've had to your credit score. At some point, most of us under the sound of my voice today accepted Christ as our Savior. If we haven't, we will definitely be happy to help you do that after church today. But for those of us who have, when Jesus came on the scene in our lives, he erased every debt that we owed. Yeah. We were literally up to our eyeballs in debt with the world. And he said, I'll pay it all off with nothing expected against me. And so thus your spiritual credit score began from the day you accepted Christ. Because as is the church, we have spiritual credit scores because we know of Christ. Yeah. Those who don't know of him don't have a score yet. Because they have no knowledge of him. So they can't operate in that thing that you don't know about. Yes. So God willingly stepped up to pay everything we owe off spiritually. But you know how we do as people, we get a good credit score, we get some things paid off. We go out leasing lives we cannot afford. That marriage you could not afford. That house you can't afford. The times you say, I'll help in the ministry, I'll work, I'll do this, I'll do that. You can't afford. That education you can't afford because God told you to be one major, but you became another. Now you're wondering why nothing's working out for you. The job that you have problems on all the time because God led you one way, but you went another. So now you're mucking up your spiritual credit score with things. You're racking up bills, expecting God to pay them when you're not giving him any payment in return. So our spiritual credit score is nothing more than a debt or an obligation. And so when we accepted Christ, it's not like he made us accept him. We willingly accepted him as our own. And so when we signed our name on a dotted line for that loan, we knew what the obligation was. Right. And so our debt is our obligation to Christ to live every day as he has commanded his people to live, to love, to honor, to serve, to be there for people. So we were given a fresh start after Christ went to Calvary and given an excellent credit score. And very few people in the natural can say they have an excellent credit score. Because you know sometimes you pay a little something late. Or you get a payday loan and you realize you're not going to pay that payday loan back. But we do the same thing in the spirit because we know God promises eternal life. So we're borrowing against that eternal life without paying him back in the spirit. He doesn't care how much money is in your pocket. He doesn't care what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of car you drive. None of that means anything to him because all that will fade away, but what will stand are our souls and God after the second coming of the King. And so here you are running up your credit score. You're supposed to have an 850 and you got a 250 in the spirit. You can't even finance a stick of gum in the kingdom of God. You have not enough credit. You need a stick of gum. So one of my questions to you today is, if God called you right now to finance the breakthrough of somebody else, the healing of somebody else, would your credit score in the spirit be enough to pay the price for that person? See, Jesus, he will always have a perfect credit score because he got on Calvary's cross, and he died for all of mankind, past, present, and future. And then in the text, we talk about Abel and we talk about Enoch. Their faith, which is our currency for our spiritual credit score, their faith bought them a perfect score. Enoch didn't even experience death. He just one day woke up and was like, Lord, is that you? He was in heaven with the Lord. Now, many of us don't even have a score big enough to even get to the bank where Jesus is to ask for a blessing like that. Many of us, like Abel, he gave the very best that he had. How many of us, when payday comes, you start, okay, well, I got paid $1,200. The electric bill is this much. The car note is this much, but I really want that dress at the mall, so if I only put something on this. If I just give everybody a little something, put something on it. That's what we do in the spirit. We just put something on it. God asks us to do something. I'm just going to put $20 on it. The bill is $90. Pay the $90. Or if he asks you to pray without ceasing for days, you're like, well, Lord, I'm going to give you 20 minutes of prayer. He asks you for 1 hour of prayer. Out of all the hours you have in the week, he asks you for 1 hour. He asks you to stop and say a kind word to one person. He asks you to help get one person through a breakthrough. Well, Lord, I put a little something on it. I prayed for them as I walked away. So now your credit score in the spirit has just gone down even further. God is out here operating with a bank full of people, with a bank full of parishioners that he can't even call on because our credit scores are not high enough. They're not high enough against the enemy because you best believe he has a perfect credit score. He delivers on his word each and every day. He gets up, he stretches in the morning. He's like, now who am I going to go to today? And then we get mad at God in the spirit when things aren't working out for us. And we're like, well, God, I don't understand. You go into a bank with an ATM card in the world. You go into God's bank inherit back what he has given to us. All he asks us is to give forward and keep giving. And when you think about your spiritual credit score, when you're trying to get something on a measure of faith, but you've invested nothing in it, you're going into the negative. It's like some people, they will borrow and write bad checks, or they'll keep on borrowing money they know they cannot pay back. And so with God, he's so merciful and so good, he keeps wiping the debt clean. But at the same time, you're hurting other people. Because like I said before, that debt becomes someone else's debt. The enemy's not just after you, because sometimes when your spiritual credit score isn't high enough, someone else is not going to get their breakthrough because you don't have, and you're too much of a liability to take a risk on. Your prayer life is a little shaky. The Lord ain't heard you in a month of Sundays. You ain't asked God, you ask God for things only selfishly for yourself, and God's like, well, wait a minute, like, this is their score they're supposed to be operating in, and then we're not even operating in it. We're abusing it, we're misusing it, but we're not supposed to be. And so our spiritual credit score, in essence, is what helps God and others predict how likely you are to make credit payments on time. Everyone has a spiritual credit score. It has nothing to do with your finances whatsoever. God cares nothing about your finances. A spiritual credit score is nothing more than what you do with the amount of faith God has given you. So the moment you said yes, you started following him, that measure of faith he dealt you, and he dealt it to all of us. What did you do with it? How much money do you have in the bank? How much do you have stored up in your spiritual storehouse? How much faith do you have stored up? If you needed to be able to buy someone's salvation by praying and fasting and believing with them, would your score be enough to get them through? Your spiritual credit report is based on your faith in God and your service to the kingdom. So if you are still with the same amount of money and the same score that you had the moment you said yes to Christ, that's a problem. Because as you pay and as you do and as you show that you're responsible, it grows and it grows and it grows and it becomes more valuable. You literally today in society, you can have $1 million, but an 800 credit score is worth more than $1 million. Because your credit is your word. Somebody will give you a business quicker than they will give somebody with $1 million and a 560 credit score, because that shows they're not reliable. They don't pay nothing on time. They don't borrow smartly. And it's the same thing in the kingdom. You can have someone with very little finances, but the faith that can move mountains. God is going to always go with them over anybody else, because he knows, hey, they might not have a lot, but that faith will move some things. I've seen their faith heal some people. I've seen their faith get some people delivered. We want our family members to be off drugs. We want our kids to do right. We want people to be safe and delivered. Then get your credit right. You ever asking God for stuff? You didn't even have the score for him to be able to move in your life. He can't do something with nothing. I mean, he could if he wanted to, because he's God and he can do infinite and abundant above all. We can ask or think, but he won't do that because he needs you to do your part. This is not a spectator sport. It's not just when we go and sit and we listen. This is what happens when you work within Christ. He has to be able to use you. We are his mobility here on the earth. And so if he has nothing on the earth he can use and move around, he is immobile. Because he has to work through us. And if he can't trust you to work through you, because every time he cleans your credit up, you go out and finance something new you know you can't afford. You know you can't afford. You know you couldn't afford that relationship and the calls and the trouble it would come with. You knew you couldn't afford it, but you laid down and had a child with that person anyway. Now you're stuck, busted, broken, and disgusted. I'm just talking about myself. I ain't worried about y'all. This is my message. You knew what God told you to do and what you would be. What education to get, what job to take, what city to move to. And you still stuck stupid, moving the other direction. And day by day, you are losing every month when God's holy accountant reports, because that's how the credit bureau reports. The first day of every month, they hit the credit report bureau and they report whether you paid your bills on time or whether the credit card companies call you from 16 different numbers because you keep telling them it's not you or you keep hanging up. You know how people do. And then God reports to it, and he's like, man, they didn't pray this month, they didn't tithe this month, they didn't even say good morning to me this month. Dock them 20 points. That score is not going to go up. I can't trust him. I can't give him my assets. And that's all God is. He's an investor in us. He made the biggest investment when he gave his son Jesus. And all that he asks in return is that we don't make a mockery of his sacrifice. That his death is not in vain. That him going to Calvary was for nothing. And when we don't abide by Christ and we don't do what we're supposed to do in the spirit, we don't exercise our faith like Abel and Enoch. That's what we do. We make a mockery of the death of Christ, of the crucifixion of him. Because that was God's payment. I'm literally, the devil looks like a football game. Okay, we down by 6 or 2 or whatever the point is in football. I'm not really that good at sports. And the enemy just knew he was about to catch the ball in the end zone. Interception, Jesus Christ. He came through, intercepted the ball, and ran all the way back down the field to victory. And all he asks is for you to do what you're supposed to do within the Spirit. All that faith is believing in God and taking God at His word, even when you have no physical proof. You literally have no physical proof. Like, you will believe the natural more than you believe the Spirit. I have friends who are like, oh, well, I can't move like this because my credit score. I was like, literally, you know that's not mandated by the federal government, right? These are just 3 different agencies who really have no proof that you owe that debt. So the moment you refute it, they have to take it off of your credit report within 45 days. But with Jesus Christ, we don't have those kind of credit policies. We have the answer. He is the answer to all issues of faith. He is the Father and author of all of our faith. And so we're believing what people are putting on paper about us. We're believing what people are saying about us. Oh, well, your faith is not big enough to have that job, or your faith is not large enough to be successful in that marriage, or your faith, you can't become a doctor. Black people aren't doctors. You can't do that. You can't own that business. But what did God say about you and your spiritual credit score? Nobody else knows your spiritual credit score but Christ. And guess what? No one else can check it. See, in the natural, when you go to apply for a loan or get some assets in your name, what is the first thing they do? They run your credit. You know your credit is bad, and you still let them run it. You're damaging yourself even further, because every time you get an inquiry, that's a nick against your credit score. But in the Spirit, there's no one else who can check it but God. He already knows. He already knows what your credit score is. He knows what you're capable of. And even when it's low, He knows what it can be and what it should be. And He knows how to get you there. So when we're talking about our spiritual credit score, we have to look at your payment history. Unlike the financial credit report, your spiritual credit report is based on your faith. According to Hebrews 11:6, it is impossible to raise your spiritual credit score and please God without faith. So if you don't have any faith, you're never going to raise your credit score. I mean, you don't even need a lot of faith. You just need the size of a mustard seed. The mustard seed is very, very tiny. God didn't even ask you to have a mountain's worth of faith. He said, just give me a mustard seed and I'll work with it. I'll build houses for you. I'll build businesses. I will take you places no man can ever take you. I will give you things no man can ever give you. If you just have a small measure of faith. And then how much we owe. How much do you owe in the Spirit? You know how we get sometimes when somebody offends us? We get that little prayer in our head. May the Lord watch between me and you while we're absent one from another. Amen. And you can cut the person off and not forgiving them. Well, when you have unforgiveness and deceit in your heart, that's taken away from your score too. Unforgiveness is another thing that works like credit. When you ask someone to forgive you, you are asking them to trust you. Each time you have to ask forgiveness for the same action, you're going into debt in other ways. So each time you have an offense against a brother or sister, or each time when they ask you to be there for them and you haven't shown up to be there for them, that's an offense. That's a ding on your spiritual credit score. And I was like, well, I can't send them out to pray for nobody. I can't send them out to save nobody, because they have this harboring within them. And so a lot of times we're looking at what other people have done. Oh, well, they didn't accept my payment arrangement. You can't make payment arrangements with Christ. Just pay them what you owe them. If He said pray, pray. If He said dance, dance. If He said sing, sing. If He asked you to serve in a particular ministry, stop fighting it. Build your credit score and do what He asked you to do. Saying I'm sorry is the same thing as using a credit card over repeatedly and repeatedly, knowing that you're over the limit. You're always, oh Lord, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. Lord, I got in this predicament, this situation. Lord, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He can't build the kingdom on I'm sorry. He cannot. He cannot build you on I'm sorry. All He needs is your faith. And get this, your faith doesn't belong to you because it was His. He gave it to you to use. You know how when somebody do co-sign for us for something, and then they come to us like, hey buddy, you ain't paid this bill in a little while. Could you help me out? I mean, why are you coming at me like that? You know I'm gonna pay it. Well, the creditor is at my door trying to take my assets, and that's how the enemy is. You go ahead and you co-sign for somebody else with your faith. He gonna come for yours. Because He's gonna get his money one way or another. He gonna get everything that belongs to him. He's stingy. He's not gonna leave nothing on the table. And so then you're sitting there crying, losing your mind. Well, God, how do I do this? And God's like, I didn't make that mess in the first place. I told you not to live in that neighborhood. I told you the house was faulty and it wasn't worth what you paid for. I told you this wasn't worth it. That wasn't the asset you needed. I had given you these assets. I directed you. And now you're mad at God. You're like, well, Lord, I'm sorry. He's like, sorry for your luck. Sorry. Just remember, Abel gave, Cain did not. And look at the result of Cain. So sometimes God will allow us to suffer and dwell in the bad credit we build up, because you got to learn a lesson from it. You got to learn you can't co-sign for everybody. I know you love your loved ones, you love your friends. Pray for them. They were like, listen, I know this credit bureau of Jesus Christ. If you start using your faith, he'll build you up. He even has this new credit repair program that if you just repent and believe in your work, he'll wipe everything clean. All you got to do is believe. Just have a little bit of faith, a little bit of action for the Lord. That's all you got to do. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. And some people won't even do that. They won't even get up off their butts to get themselves their own credit score. You used to live off of mama's credit score, daddy's credit score, and grandma and grandpa, auntie, uncle, cousins, or like I said, the one person in the family who get credit with the whole family and generations on their shoulders. That's not the way God designed it. Each and every person is accountable to him on their own. Once they have the knowledge, once you know. So now that I'm teaching you today, you know better, you better do better with your credit. So a few examples of excellent credit scores in the Bible, because there's more than Enoch and Abel. Joshua followed God's instructions and the walls of Jericho fell down. Joshua didn't have no money to buy no caterpillars, no wrecking balls. He didn't have money to buy an army. But God said do 7 times and then on the 7th time scream. It seemed crazy. It seemed ridiculous. Like, why are these people walking around this tall? They don't have a bayonet, a gun, or nothing. A bow and arrow, a charge horse, nothing. But they just marching around this wall. And on the 7th time, God said, use that faith I gave you, that credit score about 100 before you walk in. They scream and all those walls came tumbling down. That's the only type of deliverance that God can give you if you're faithful. Now, what if Joshua had just said, God, that looks dumb. I'm not going to do that. The walls would have never failed. And he would have not gotten the blessing. Gideon, Barak, Samson, David, Samuel, and other prophets, they conquered kingdoms, administered justice, served God. Moses delivered the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt because of their faith. So their credit scores worked on behalf. Just think that Moses never exercised his faith. How many Israelites would have been lost? What would the world be like today? Just think if God, the author of everything, the biggest example, had not exercised his own personal credit score. He co-signed for the world with his son's blood, knowing that we would go back to the executive year. And then on top of it, he gave us each an individual perfect credit score to operate out. He financed all of humanity. How many people you know would do that for you? I know people, if I need a loan tomorrow, they wouldn't even sign for me. And I'm good for it. I'm good for it. But that's how it is. We're so willing to hope and give our faith to other people. But think about it. Would that person give you that same measure of faith? Would they put their faith in their life on the line for you? We know one person who will do it, Jesus Christ. He will put it all on. He does it each and every day. Each and every day his humanity, his false Christian betrays them. And every day he still blesses. Every day he still gives. Every day he's still making miracles and signs and wonders. He said, you know what? Okay, so they messed up their sport. I'm going to wipe you clean again. But we have to learn that sometimes we're hurting other people. We are damaging other people because if your credit score is tied to someone else getting their breakthrough, and you don't have enough to finance what they need, then they never get what they need. Because as a minister, I'm not for everybody. I'm only for the people God destined me for. So I can't use my credit score for the people that Minister Antoinette needs to touch, or Elder Brown. My score doesn't work for them. Even if I co-sign for them, it's not as powerful because if you have to have a co-signer, you're not that great of an investment. So anytime you got to have a co-signer, then your investment is really worth nothing. Your word is worth nothing because you have to get somebody else to vouch for you. How do we get other people to vouch for us when we serve the ultimate voucher? We serve the everlasting King, the Alpha and the Omega, the one who came to save us all. But we up here getting other people's credit scores. Because then when the both of you have no idea what to do, you're vouching for each other, both of your credit scores are suffering. And so the people you were supposed to be helping and teaching and releasing and praying for, they're not getting what they need. Ministries aren't growing. The world is still going crazy because the church, literally, our credit score is about a 250 at this point. And the world is operating on a perfect score. Because it's one thing they do, they make sure sure they make good on every debt and every promise. As I said, the enemy, he has a perfect score because he always delivers. And he's the best debt collector. He's even better than the child support people because they'll find you, or the student loan people. They will find you. You could be under the darkest crevice of the earth and they will find you. And that's how the enemy operates. He's going to find you. And here we are, we're making excuses, we're jumping through hoops, we're just being all out of control when all we have to do is submit and do what God is asking us to do. If even if you're offering a credit score, God will clean it up right over again. He'll do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Because that's just kind of God he is. That's what he does. That's how he operates.
Amen.
Thank you, Father.
Another measure of perfect credit score was Abraham.
Yes.
God credited his faith with righteousness.
Yes.
Abraham, God just told him to move and go, had no idea where he was going or what he would be doing, or what it would look like, what it would feel like. He had no measure. And God said, if you just go, if you just move, I'll take care of you. And with that type of faith, he elevated Abraham to places that no man could ever elevate him to, and that no man could ever take from him. Because in the natural, when you default on a debt, the man is coming. They're going to repossess your car. You're going to come home, they're moving your stuff out in boxes, and you're sitting on the corner. And even in the natural, bad credit score can keep you from being promoted. You won't get jobs. Employers are checking credit scores now. Ain't that something? By the way, if I get this job, I can pay what I owe. But that's not what they want to hear, because if you're not reliable with your debt, how can they trust you with their company's assets? How can they trust you to operate on behalf of them? And that's how it is in the kingdom. How can God trust you if you can't operate in the day-to-day that he's giving you? He's not giving us anything too hard to do. He's the one fighting the war. We're just in the battlefield. And we don't even really ever have to move our sword in